as the fans settle into their seats. Now one change for Tennessee. Kyle Alexander, who left their game against Wright State Thursday with a hip injury, unavailable tonight. One of their starters, and so that means that their freshman John Fulkerson will make his first start of the season, 7th of his one-year Tennessee career. And we know about the Ramblers, Dante Ingram, the Chicago kid. There is Alexander. He is in uniform on that bench. Lenny, how does that factor in?
That's a huge difference right there. Kyle Alexander at 6'11", maybe slight of build, but he's a shot blocker and probably could contend with Cameron Krutwig down low. John Fulkerson, not as quick, not a shot blocker. There's going to be a lot of pressure on him to be able to contain Loyola Chicago's big man.
Alexander started 23 games this season for Rick Barnes as the Volunteers have possession, and we are underway here in Dallas.
And you're so right. Man, you look at Alexander, shot blocking, also second on his team in offensive rebounding.
There's the player of the year in the SEC this season, the sophomore Grant Williams. Schofield from deep.
I mean, that kid is locked in and in rhythm. He has just a great bounce and flair to himself, Lynn. I like how he can play inside and out.
Yeah, sweet touch for a big fella, too.
High release.
Nearly a 40% three-point shooter was Schofield this season. You wouldn't think it looking at that frame, that build he's got. What a specimen he is. A turnover committed by the Ramblers on their first possession. Here's Schofield underneath. Out front to Williams, and now Bone will reset with exactly a minute gone by. Tennessee fresh off their first tournament victory since 2014. Williams is there on a forceful putback.
SEC Player of the Year, doing a nice job of just carving out space, and then he finished that one with authority.
Well, Loyola Chicago's going to have to do a better job of blocking out. That ball was tipped over a defender's shoulder to be kept alive. And if you give Tennessee second chance opportunities, they're going to hurt you.
This is Clayton Custer, the junior. Nana Richardson. Down low to Cameron Krutwig. And quickly collapse on him. Shot clock at 3. Here's Ingram off to the left. And the rebound corralled by Fulkerson.
And if you notice, it's Grant Williams with his size and width that's guarding Krutwig down low instead of taking a chance with Fulkerson guarding him.
Williams, excellent look at it from in the paint, and the rebound corralled by Ingram.
That's a bit of a risk right there. Now you have Fulkerson on Krutwig.
Here's Richardson from deep, splash!
Is that a great sign of what? He didn't score in their last outing. He also had 8 assists. Great defender, but he got a chance to knock down that 3.
Richardson playing on that ankle that he turned the other night. Actually did not practice yesterday. But boy, did he show some grit. Did not even come out of the game on Thursday. Schofield from deep.
Surprisingly, Loyola Chicago very late coming off the down screen, and Schofield with a wide open look. Ingram too late. But that's one of their strengths, usually closing out on shooters.
Schofield, who was an Illinois kid, actually grew up about an hour outside Chicago in the Loyola campus. How good has he been down the stretch? Here's Custer into the corner. Marcus Towns from deep, not even close. And then Krutwig, who was sandwiched underneath, is fouled by Tennessee as we go back to that last Volunteers sequence.
You see Schofield comes out, and you can see Dante Ingram. You talked about it. You got to have better defensive presence than that, and also being able to get out. He's knocked down one. He's shot. He's taken 3. Now it's his second make.
As Rick Barnes, Coach of the Year in the SEC, certainly the conversation for National Coach of the Year. How quickly he has turned this Tennessee program around in 3 short years.
Extra pass.
Open look, that's Lucas Williamson, and the freshman. Another Chicago kid. Not bashful on the big stage.
I like him. He's very skilled. He's poised. He can do a little bit of everything, and knocking down that shot was nice.
Whistle blown here against the Ramblers at the other end of the floor.
I was going to say, just take good ball movement right there. Second pass. You know, even though Marcus Towns had the shot, he gave it up to a better shot.
There's Porter Moser, 7th season as Loyola's head coach. Coach of the Year in the Missouri Valley Conference this season. 49-year-old Naperville, Illinois native. coaching the Ramblers to their first NCAA tournament victory in 33 years on Thursday.
You can see Grant Williams has a size advantage against Towns. They didn't find him on that post-up.
Derek Walker into the game for the first time, and Schofield's got it going.
Hey, Lynn, they got to find him. He can really shoot it. And I know they're collapsing the defense inside, but you got to find a way to run him off that line.
Yeah, you got to make him a driver. Coming off those screens, though, or on the penetrating kick, you can't overhelp.
Schofield's got 3 threes already, 9 of their 11 points. Shot clock at 10. Here's Towns. Into the paint, broken up and stolen by Bowden. A foot race with Williams into the rack, and he goes glass.
Well, that was outstanding anticipation. A terrific job done by Jordan Bowden.
Tennessee's got everything going early on.
Again.
Schofield the theft. And look at the big fella getting down the floor. Timeout Loyola.
I mean, the big fella Spiro got out in the passing lane. You love his ability as a wing guy. He knocked down threes. But he was rolling down there, a little bump by the shoulder, and attacked the rim. Admiral Schofield.
Somebody's paying attention in the video room. That's twice.
Watch live games on your computer, phone, tablet, or streaming device with NCAA March Madness Live. Watch now, ncaa.com/March Madness, or download the app today. Admiral Schofield carving up this Loyola defense.
Yeah, he is, and I love that he's shooting the basketball. He's worked so much on his perimeter game, and he's knocked down 3 of them. I call him the small power forward because that's the small forward in him, and there's the power forward being able to have that steal, drive it, and finish. He has 11 points to start off this game. Tennessee is doing a nice job defensively, Lynn, with anticipation.
Yeah, they have. As I said before the break, somebody's paying attention in the video room. That's twice now they've smelled out the attempt at reversing the ball, Loyola Chicago's attempt.
Tennessee has scored 7 straight points. And by the way, Schofield's career high for made threes in a game is 4. He's got 3 already in 4.5 minutes. Just incredible.
Look at the hard heads out there forcing Custer really wide.
Beautiful find underneath. That's Andre Jackson, a senior. Grew up not far from here, about 20 minutes away from downtown Dallas, and a much-needed bucket to end the 7-0 run.
No panic either. They just moved the ball and found the open man down low.
I don't know Cameron Krutwig has the size and is a fantastic player, but they played their best basketball down the stretch with Andre Jackson at that center spot.
Well, they need the defense. There's no question about it. Jackson a little quicker, a little more athletic.
Williams with 3 to shoot, leans in to create the space. And this will be an over the back against Schofield. Excellent box out by Richardson. 7-point Tennessee lead on TNT.
Don't let those Tennessee team members scare you at their height. Height doesn't mean that much. You're good jumpers, you're good rebounders, you're good at everything. And just keep that in mind.
America's fallen in love with Sister Jean, the 98-year-old nun that leads Loyola Chicago in pregame prayer, mixed in with analysis from the scouting report. Since their upset of Miami, she's done interviews with every major media outlet. Clayton Custer told me the craziest part of all the attention is that the team found out that Sister Jean has a bracket, but she got Loyola Chicago losing in the Sweet 16. Clayton told me the team gave her a hard time for that, but he said, we're so happy the nation's fallen in love with her. We've known she's a rock star for a long time.
She's spiritual, but real.
Even Sister Jean isn't perfect, but my goodness, she is America's newest sweetheart indeed. And she is cheering on her Ramblers with the entire city of Chicago sitting on the edge of their seats. Jackson, beautiful little head fake to create just enough space to bring Loyola within 5.
You know, at the 4 spot, his versatility, and he understands how to play amongst the trees. Nice little pump fake and finish for Andre Jackson.
If you've just joined us, Tennessee down one of their starters tonight. Their junior center, Kyle Alexander, out with a hip injury tonight. John Fulkerson making the start right now. Fulkerson on the bench. Here's a long 3 from James Daniel, back of the rim. It's loose underneath. Eve Pons trying to save it. Could not for Tennessee, and the Ramblers will get it back.
Again, the reason why Jackson's in the game is because he's better suited against the quickness and the athletes that Tennessee has in the game than Krutwig is. And you saw a great example there of him being able to slip to the spot.
So it looks like Rick Barnes, guys, will extend here to some full court pressure defense. Let's see how the Ramblers react as now the Vols will kind of drop back into the half court. Good ball handlers for the Ramblers. As Custer's pass is corralled by Jackson. Here's Custer, player of the year in the Missouri Valley this season, heart and soul of this Ramblers team. A reach-in foul here against Daniel nearly at center court. I'll always remember, if you have a refreshing Coke Zero Sugar, a big upset isn't that upsetting. Ben Richardson will be the inbounder here. 13:37 to play. First half. Here comes Custer. Outside to Ingram. They'll reset. Ingram unable to turn the corner. 5 to shoot. Richardson. Battle for the rebound. Ingram and Daniel. And the loose ball corralled by Jordan Bone. Bone stops and pops a little bit short. Jackson. Custer one-on-one with Bone. Beck beautifully eludes the defender. 3-point game.
Spiro, that is huge for the Ramblers. You're talking about Andre Jackson playing the 5, but with his ability and speed, first he had to box out the big, got the rebound, outlet it, and then he made that play by running.
Schofield, a rare miss, and suddenly Tennessee can't shoot straight.
Yeah, Loyola Chicago, their defense forcing the perimeter shot.
Richardson off by just a little bit. 6 straight points for the Ramblers.
And when the Ramblers force the perimeter shot, they're doing a much better job at blocking off now, forcing Tennessee into a 1 and out.
You see the drought for the Volunteers as they have missed their last 5 shots and they turn it over. Looks like Jackson took a shot to the back of the neck here, trying to shake it off.
I like the fact that he's not touching it either. He's not letting them know he's hurt.
Dangerous pass is broken up into the hands of Schofield. Up the floor to Bone, extends, misses the little bunny. And then a loose ball foul as Williamson is knocked to the deck.
Well, let's look right here. There's Andre Jackson, the 5, leading the break, but he got out and ran and left an angle for Custer to lay it up. Ramblers down 3.
Back to Spiro, Len, Steve, and Ron.
All right, Adam, let's get you our tournament summary presented by Capital One, and the sports world still buzzing over what we saw last night. College basketball history as the Retrievers, coached by Ryan Odom, shocking the sports world as they took care of Virginia, and they did it handily.
It happened, Spiro, and give them a lot of credit. I know Virginia is obviously thinking and trying to replay things, but they came out and not only did they beat them, they won by 20.
And a big call here, critical call. Admiral Schofield has to sit, picks up his second, Lenny. Keep in mind, they're already down 1 big without Kyle Alexander.
Yeah, Loyola Chicago has to make some hay right now with the opportunity with Schofield on the bench.
Krutwig, look at the big fella. Incredible agility.
You talk about footwork, you talk about pivot and patience down on the post. Cameron Krutwig just did that.
Yeah, add the big fella to the lineup right now as Schofield had to go to the bench. And pretty good job of coaching right now. Porter Moser playing chess.
Here's Bowden, shot clock down to 8. Lamonte Turner off target, and the officials say loose ball foul against the Ramblers. It's Bruno Skokner, the sophomore from Croatia, just checking into the game. And an extra possession. Let's check back in with Roz.
I listened in on an enthusiastic huddle for Loyola Chicago. The players did a lot of the talking. I heard one say, every time we got to box out. Another one said, hey guys, we're good if we play the right way. Guys, before the game, Clayton Custer told me, we don't feel like an underdog. They're confident and their huddle sounded like it.
Bowden's 3-pointer off target. And Roz, you look at how good that they've been. This is a Loyola team, gentlemen, that has lost just 1 game since the 7th of January, 18-1 over their last 19. That includes their current 11-game winning streak. Good for 4th longest active in Division I. Just an incredible stretch that they've been on.
Well, the problem right now, Lynn, in my opinion, is Tennessee right now is settling for a lot of threes. I think Grant Williams hasn't touched the basketball in probably the last 4 or 5 trips. Some kind of way you got to go down low.
Well, they applied the full court pressure, looking to take the Ramblers out of rhythm right now. But the most important thing, in the first 4 minutes and 37 seconds, Loyola Chicago turned it over 3 times. Only turned it over once since.
Krutwig able to keep it alive, an extra possession. Ingram from deep.
Right now, they're quicker and stronger to the basketball. 50-50 balls, advantage Ramblers right now.
Yeah, they've eliminated the points off turnovers by only turning it over once since the 15:37 mark. And I think that's really important. They finally kind of got their sea legs in this game.
No points for Tennessee in more than 5.5 minutes. Long shot from Pons won't go, as Tennessee has missed 9 straight shots.
And that was a nice block out by Krutwig that time. Loyola Chicago taking care of fundamental business.
Here's Marcus Towns trying to turn the corner down to the freshman Williamson. Poked away as they sandwich him for a moment. Turner nearly jarred it loose. Ingram. Beautiful defense by Bowden.
You're right. Deflections, and
Lamonte Turner trying to force the issue. Able to draw the block. Well, these Ramblers fans not agreeing.
This is where Tennessee really is good. After forcing the turnover, they get out there and they run, and nobody's able to establish themselves. You know, right there, Skokna tried to take the charge, but, you know, you got to be all the way in to take the charge. You can't do it halfway.
I'm totally with you, Lane. I thought that was a correct call. He was there, but he turned his body, didn't take it in the chest.
Well, Rick Barnes has pushed all the right buttons for the Volunteers this season. A critical juncture in this game. His offense off kilter at the moment, and Admiral Schofield on the bench with 2 personals. They've leaned on this young man all season. Grant Williams coming through again.
Well, that's what they have to do. They've got to go to their best player, try to get them back on track. There's nobody out there on the floor that can consistently guard Grant Williams.
First points for the Volunteers in 6 minutes, 20 seconds.
You've got to give him some touches. He has a size advantage against Towns that's trying to guard him.
Krutwig really demanding the ball. They won't give it to him, but he's setting up nicely.
Skokna is fouled on the pass. Shot clock was down to 7 as we just crossed the 9-minute mark of this first half. Well, first round coverage of the NCAA Division I Women's Basketball Championship continues tonight. ESPN2 and the ESPN app. For more information on game times and listings, visit ncaa.com. The Ramblers with possession, down 3. Here's Clayton Custer, their point guard, playmaking leader, a junior from Overland Park, Kansas. Good ball movement. Shot clock at 3. Custer got a decent look at it with the shot clock at 1.
Pretty good scramble defense for the Volunteers. They had guys out of position, but they did a good job of recovering.
Basket will not count. Williams fouled on the drive.
Once again, Williams gets a touch. And I think Tennessee has kind of figured it out right now. Give it to our best and let the rest happen.
Foul charge to Ben Richardson, his first. Guys, what have you seen now as these two teams continue to feel each other out?
Well, I think on the Tennessee side, me and Lynn have talked about it. They're starting to find a way to get the basketball to Grant Williams, their best player, who has advantage size-wise. And Loyola Chicago Ramblers, they just play the game the way the defense plays them. If they have a pump fake, they will move it to try to get a better shot. Not a good shot, a great shot.
And see, if I'm Loyola Chicago, I'm not going to overhelp. You know, you try to get the ball out of Williams' hands, but you don't overhelp and leave other guys wide open.
Here's Derek Walker, a freshman for Rick Barnes. Step in middle, a little bit too much. Rebound Custer.
And that's what they did. They doubled Williams. He gave it up.
This is Richardson, thought about it. Now to Custer.
Nice.
Krutwig wide open. Custer dropping dimes.
For all young basketball fans out there, that pump fake is the best move in basketball. You can see 2 Volunteers going for it. Gave the Ramblers a better look, an easy look down in the paint.
And that's a great example of overhelping.
Beautiful vision. Williams underneath, and Lamonte Turner was all by himself.
Good things happen when you get the basketball to Grant Williams. You see the attention he has. The Ramblers fell asleep and gave up an easy bucket.
Well, how good was Turner the other night? 19 points to go along with a career high. 9 assists. Here's Jackson. Shot clock at 10. Custer. Jackson finding some daylight. Boy, trying to cock it back. My goodness. As they meet at the summit. Jackson to the free throw line when we come back.
Where there's Custer finding big Cameron Cutrick for the nice little easy layup. And then down on the other end, the Volunteers said, right back at you, Williams, with a nice find to Turner.
What a great scene here in Dallas the last couple of days. As the round of 32 continues, let's take a look at our Subway first half game summary. Loyola, kind of a ragged first couple of minutes, but they settled in, and they have 6 assists on their 7 made field goals. Right now down 3.
But also you take a look at the steals from Tennessee. That's 5 live ball turnovers that they've been able to convert into 8 points. And that essentially is the name of the game. It's Tennessee's anticipation, stealing the ball, or you could say it's Loyola's, lack of attention to detail, and allowing Tennessee to get a handle on it.
This is Andre Jackson, a senior. As we told you earlier, grew up not far from here, Kennedale High School star. Trying to get the Ramblers into the Sweet 16, something that they have not done since March of 1985. A win tonight by Loyola would get them 30 wins for the first time ever, as they try to keep this magic carpet ride continuing. Good-looking stroke from Jordan Bone, the sophomore out of Nashville, as he extends to a 4-point lead.
Had his feet set, shot that one, and knocked it down for the Volunteers. Beautiful offensive set. Went inside and came back out.
Bone, a 38% three-point shooter on the season. Jackson, masterful with his feet.
I mean, he's good. You see him being able to work down low. He is comfortable playing against size. 12 points in 17 minutes in their last outing.
He's got 8 points already here. Williams spotting up from deep. Rebound corralled by Towns.
And you guys can see why Andre Jackson last year was 6th man of the year. Porter Moser just plugs him in wherever he needs him.
Clayton Custer from the corner. First lead tonight for the Ramblers.
And that's Custer, only his 3rd shot from the field. Team's leading scorer. You like the way he lets the game come to him.
All the talk the other night about Ingram's heroic shot, rightfully so, but it was Custer's 3 just moments earlier that gave them that opportunity. 2 to shoot. Turner has to fire. Did not get iron. It's a shot clock violation.
Well, you watch on this play from the Ramblers on the last set. That's Ben Richardson getting it to Custer. Nice shot fake. Comes off a great ball movement and sharing the basketball from the Ramblers.
And on this last Tennessee possession, Loyola Chicago went to a matchup and Tennessee couldn't figure it out. Hence, you got the shot clock violation as they kind of stood there frozen.
Bench scoring now starting to become an issue, as Tennessee has not gotten much from their reserve unit. 11-2 outscored at bench points so far. They've been without Admiral Schofield since the 12-minute mark. He picked up his 2nd personal. Krutwig underneath, good look at it. Well played by the freshman Fulkerson. Knocked out of his hands, it's loose, and Richardson takes.
Well, you got to be strong with it inside.
Custer bobbled it for a moment. Daniel nearly the steal.
Look at the ball movement inside.
Nice pass.
Here comes Towns. Beautifully done.
That play was made by Cameron Krutwig. You talk about on the right block, he rifled the basketball on time and on target for a nice little floater from Towns.
Yeah, he looked weak side, recognizing he was getting doubled.
And Tennessee turns it over for the 4th time.
And Rick Barnes said, I can't wait anymore. I got to get Admiral Schofield back in this game with 2 fouls. He has to roll the dice right now because the momentum in the league is going away from the Volunteers.
Lenny, you like this decision?
You got no choice, as Steve said. You got to find a way to stem the tide. Their offense is stymied the last couple of possessions, and Schofield's the one who's been able to pick him up. Question is, though, who is he going to guard, and will that person go at him to try to make him pick up his third?
Lynn, would you? If you're a coaching staff, would you try to go right at him?
Andre Jackson is having a pretty good game. Yeah, I'd find a way. If he's open, I wouldn't leave the rhythm that we have getting everybody involved.
Tennessee had an 8-point lead, as you saw when Schofield went to the bench. Here comes Jackson. Lost it for a moment, squirts out of his hands. He just couldn't squeeze it. As the Ramblers give it right back.
Here's number 1, Lamonte Turner. Back in for the Ramblers, number 1, Lucas Williamson. And number 0, Dante Ingram.
Now the Last OG new comedy premieres April the 3rd on TBS.
And you saw Jackson, he had the very same thing you and I, Steve, had in mind. You got a guy with 2 fouls, man. I'm taking him.
He tried, didn't he, Lynn? He just fumbled it.
See the scoring drop by Tennessee with Schofield back on the floor. Williams sandwiched between 2 defenders. He's been so good for the Volunteers this season. And he will shoot free throws here with 4:02 to play before halftime.
Nice job of making a quick move to the baseline. But that's where Andre Jackson should have been playing him, because he was getting help from the top from Ben Richardson. Loyola Chicago is going to have to communicate a little better, because you can't afford Jackson to pick up the fouls. He's got 1. You can't afford having to pick up the second.
So here's Williams. What a story he's been. A sophomore SEC Player of the Year this season. Grew up in Charlotte. And what a family. His mother, Teresa, an engineer for NASA. His father, Gilbert, a math teacher. Williams, growing up, was an academic superstar, recruited by all but one Ivy League school. He turned out Harvard and Yale at the end. And boy, are Tennessee fans happy he did.
Yes, they are. And he's a guy that can really change the game. And right now, he's keeping the Volunteers stable right now, only down 2. But I think he even has to get more touches, not just to shoot it. He draws so much attention.
Marcus Towns able to create long 2. He's hit a couple from deep. And Sister Jean liking it from her perch high above the floor. Tennessee with possession, down 4. With the winner of this one advancing to Atlanta and the Sweet 16.
There's a double on the post.
Schofield coughs it up. Here comes Richardson. He has Towns wide open.
Boy, that ball is hopping. A good job by the Volunteers. Discipline, stay down and alert. Staying in their stands defensively.
And they didn't force anything.
Richardson. A little bit too much. Off the hands of Williams, it looked like, but the officials say it will be Tennessee basketball when we come back.
Marcus Towns gets his feet set. Nice little head fake. Follow through. Splash.
Another look at that last sequence. It appeared to be off the hand of Grant Williams. The officials have given the basketball to Tennessee. Now they can obviously get together and overturn this, but they cannot go to the replay monitor since we are not within the final 2 minutes.
And they seem to be far apart, so they're not getting together.
So it will indeed be Volunteers basketball. As we welcome you back to Dallas, Spiro Ditas, Steve Smith, Glenn Elmore, Roz Gold on Wood A. Our producer, Scott Brandwine, Matt Lipp, our director, rest of our TNT crew. And what has been a fun couple of days here in Texas. Tennessee Volunteers, 26 wins on the season, the at-large out of the SEC. As a whistle is blown, there's Rick Barnes, who inherited a program in flux when he arrived, and in just 3 short years has this team right back to the top of the SEC co-champions. As you take a look at our Infinity Coaches Spotlight.
Such a size factor for the Volunteers. You have Lucas Williamson having to guard Admiral Schofield, Jackson on Grant Williams.
When you talk about size, you're talking about girth, right?
Yes. A little height too as well.
Shot clock down to 8.
Because those are 2 big, strong young men.
Here is Bone on a deep 3. Had to hoist it up with just 2 to shoot. And right now, Loyola blanketing this Tennessee offense. No field goals for the Volunteers in nearly 5 minutes. Jackson from deep. Back to the rim.
Nice
Jackson able to get him a fresh 30 seconds as we move on to the 2-minute mark before halftime. Jackson is pushed from the back on the catch. Tennessee in the penalty, Loyola in the bonus, so Jackson to the line for a 1-and-1.
Well, they've been terrific, Loyola Chicago, in moving the basketball. Multiple passes, opportunities for everybody to touch it. And you don't think that puts pressure on defenses, particularly those who do a lot of helping, which Tennessee does.
They have 10 assists on 11 made field goals. This team shoots 50% as a team, close to 51, and I see why, Land. They move it.
Yeah, third in the nation in field goal percentage opportunities, but Tennessee has taken advantage of some shoddy ball handling on occasion, and also they've been very prescient in anticipating some of the passes, creating turnovers. That's the difference in this game right now. To a great extent, Tennessee's in it because they've scored off turnovers. Without that, they'd be much further behind.
You saw Schofield on the bench. Rick Barnes trying to save him from his third personal. Corner three. Good look from Turner, won't go. And the officials say the call here against Loyola. And that puts Tennessee now in the bonus. And a 1-and-1 coming up with 1:31 to play. It's on Ben Richardson, his second, and it will be Grant Williams to the free throw line.
He tried everything, Spiro. Ben Richardson, he was grabbing, holding, but Grant Williams is just too big. Give a lot of credit to the Ramblers of trying to box out Grant Williams. They just couldn't do it on that possession.
Williams, 77% free throw shooter on the season. And there is a lid on that basket right now for the Volunteers. Tennessee had a 9-point lead early in this game, but it has quickly turned. 11-1 run for the Ramblers. Here's Ingram, quiet so far, hanging in midair, beautifully played defensively by that interior Tennessee defense.
The four white shirts surrounded him. Wasn't a whole lot. He was going to get out of that drive.
And he went to his left hand, needed to use his right hand, but Grant Williamson was right there. Good job by the Volunteers, walling up inside that paint.
44 seconds to play before halftime, 11 to shoot. Bowden into the far corner, Bone, 4 to shoot. Tennessee badly needed that shot. 4-point game.
Great poise and patience. Bone with the nice pump fake, one dribble in. I know everybody wants to shoot threes, but a closer shot is a higher percentage shot for me.
First basket for Tennessee in more than 6 minutes.
It's only about a 0.6 of a second difference between shot clock and game clock, so this is probably the last possession.
Towns holding, guarded by Turner. 3 seconds, Ingram from deep. A little bit short, and that takes us to halftime here in Dallas. Loyola Chicago and Tennessee. 4-point lead for the Ramblers after trailing by as many as 9 early in this game. Roz standing by with Porter Moser.
Coach, your team had a couple of turnovers early, but now you have the lead at halftime. What did you see from your team's poise in the first half?
Well, the first 4 minutes, we had to get adjusted how athletic and physical they were. They had 15 points when I called the timeout. So I was really proud of our defense. We just gave up 10 the last 15. And we had to be stronger with the ball. I can't be asking for hand checks. They got to be stronger. Tennessee's a really good physical team.
And one of those players is Grant Williams. When he got the ball, you guys were crowding him. What's key to making sure they don't make plays out of that double?
He's the best duck-in guy that I've seen. I know Charles is in the studio. He's like Charles Barkley ducking in. And we really have a lot of respect for him, and we can't just let him one-on-one coverage in there.
All right, thanks, Coach. Guys.
Now, Schofield does have some pretty good girth.
You notice he said ducking in, not just ducking.
Halftime in Dallas, 29-25. The Ramblers in front. We'll send you to AT&T at the half after these messages. You're watching the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship. All right, we get set for the second half. Let's move things over to Roz.
I spoke with Coach Barnes at Tennessee about Loyola Chicago whipping that ball around in the half-court set. They have 10 assists on 11 made field goals, and he said, we're just overhyped on defense. We're running out at the wrong guys, running the wrong guys off the line. We're not following the scout. We're not making the right decisions. We need to settle in on defense. And then on offense, we're taking too many quick threes. We want to get the ball inside. Guys?
Admiral Schofield scored all 11 of his points in the first 4 minutes and 22 seconds, and then he had to go to the bench with his second personal, as you mentioned, and their offense, gentlemen, just went awry.
Well, that's when Loyola Chicago made their move, and again, Tennessee's offense stalled, as you mentioned. But again, the Ramblers have to figure out what they're going to do on the defensive end now that Schofield is back and just 2 fouls.
Tennessee will begin the second half on the defensive end of the floor.
That's where they want to go if you want to pick up his third, but Schofield doing a nice job fronting Krutwig.
Shot clock down to 7. Custer gives it up to Ingram, now to Krutwig, freshman of the year in the Missouri Valley this season. So good with his feet, but just couldn't get it over the iron. Up the floor comes Lamonte Turner. And just like that, 2-point game.
Turner with 19 points off the bench against Wright State. You know, he's instant offense when he comes off the bench.
You talk about adjustments. They started Lamonte Turner in this second half going smaller. Only 2 bigs are Schofield and Grant Williams, taking out John Fulkerson.
That ball movement by the Ramblers has been so good so far tonight.
Nice.
Krutwig, and he is fouled. You look at him, you wouldn't think he's so mobile, so nimble, but just textbook footwork.
Well, that's nice recognition of the mismatch. Lamonte Turner 6'1", 183 against a 6'9", 260 Krutwig, and even with help was no match.
So here's Krutwig, who came in at around 290 pounds. He's lost 30 pounds. All the work that he's done with his strength coach, Dave Vitale, who has done some work in the NBA, worked with guys like Kevin Love with the Timberwolves. And what a future this kid has in front of him. So a 3-point lead for the Ramblers with just over a minute gone by in the second half. Loyola getting here via that heart-warming victory, I should say, last second over Miami, as they get some good interior defense. Tennessee, the dominant victory over Wright State on Thursday afternoon to get here.
And you take a look right there. Jordan Bones stuck on the big fella.
Marcus Towns had a good first half, a little bit too much that time. And now Turner up the deck.
I think, Glenn, you were the only one recognized that Jordan Bone was on Cameron Krutwig. They should have tried to find a way to let him get a touch on that possession.
Here's Turner. Still plenty of time to shoot. Turner steps back. That's a long 2, and the rebound cleared by Ingram.
I think that was too much handle right there. Tennessee's got to move the ball.
Here comes Towns. Turn in the corner. Brilliant drive and finish.
I'm not sure, Lynn and Spiro, how he got a chance to get the English of that backboard shot off that drive.
Beautiful.
But he did it.
Hanging bank by Jordan Bone, the sophomore playmaker out of Nashville.
Jordan Bone right back at the Ramblers. I think Jordan Bone has to be a little bit more aggressive with his penetration.
Beautiful setup into the corner by Ingram. Custer does the rest. And the Ramblers with a 6-point lead. Offensive foul. It's on Grant Williams.
Cameron Krutwig is happy. I'm sure, Lynn, coaching staff, Porter Morger talked about the dunk ins by Grant. He was saying, Cameron, you got to do your work early. He said, Coach, I got a foul on him.
Yeah, and the problem with Grant Williams, he got his arms up in the air instead of keeping his arms parallel to the ground and utilizing that big rear end that he has to make room.
Ingram, splash! 9-point Ramblers lead.
Sister Jean staying as cool as she want to be watching this.
She's got her game face on.
Well, they thought they had a switch, and Dante Ingram has been struggling in this game. Knocks down that bucket. That's his first one, 1 for 5. But that was a huge 3 for the Ramblers.
Did you see how much respect, though, that Admiral had for Ingram's drive?
Let's go over to Raj.
You guys were talking about Cameron Krutwig losing about 30 pounds. He told me he had to. He couldn't keep up with the pace of the game. He was tired. When you're tired, he was making bad decisions. He told me that the key was fixing his diet, and the hardest part, giving up his late night Oreos. He said everybody likes Oreos, right? And he said he had to add a lot of vegetables to his diet.
No college kid should have to give up the late night Oreos. He's made all the sacrifices. And what a season he's put together for these Ramblers.
I'm with Cameron. That late night snacks, I'm guilty.
Ball knocked out of bounds by Loyola with 26 seconds to shoot. Oh, who's going to make the most shots? Who has more points in the second half? If your bracket's already busted, just play the Capital One NCAA Tournament Run Game, NCAA.com, and in the March Madness Live app. Here's Clayton Custer, Player of the Year in the MVC this season. Trying to turn the corner, and a little hip check from Grant Williams gets the attention of the officials. That's his second.
Well, if you're going to be late hedging out, that was a smart play, crafty heads-up play by Custer, just to run into him and give him a little bit of acting job to draw that foul.
But that's 2 unnecessary fouls by Williams that may come back to haunt Tennessee down the stretch. The first one was a grabbing hold of.
Offensive foul. This is on Krutwig as he just dislodged Williams to the deck.
I was going to say the first one was grabbing hold of Krutwig, and the second was that hard hedge, but he gets it back off Krutwig. You take a look at them down low. Krutwig uses that left arm. You see him to ward off, and that's a point of emphasis. Try to clean up the rough play down in the block to keep people from using the arms to ward off the defenders.
Foul on Krutwig was his first. So how does Tennessee handle some adversity here? Co-regular season champions alongside Auburn this season in the SEC. 26 wins entering this one tonight. Williams, nicely done, and a friendly bounce to cut it to a half dozen.
Spiro, I'll tell you how they're going to do it. They can score. We see that. They can kind of score at will with 2 tremendous offensive players. Question is, can they play defense against this outstanding ball movement team?
Krutwig couldn't squeeze it, and the Ramblers get a huge break.
We do have a timeout on the floor.
Porter Mosier loving this, and you can see the emotion of this game. Ramblers so far up 6 early in the second half.
Huge possession. The freshman Norvell. Oh! The freshman! Cold-blooded 3!
One timeout, they don't take it.
He got it! He got it!
Buzzer!
And the Ramblers are moving on. High school teammates at Simeon High in Chicago, Dante Ingram and Zach Norvell of Gonzaga, both hitting game winners for their teams in the tournament, same day, just a few hours apart. Norvell's 3 with 20 seconds left to beat UNC Greensboro. Gentlemen, you talk about serendipity.
Yes, indeed. That's just fantastic. 2 high school teammates, and I believe they played with a guy named Jabari Parker.
Yes, they did.
And you know what? 20 years from now, they'll all be able to go back, sit back around a drink, and talk about glory days.
Ingram was a junior on that state championship team with Jabari Parker. What a group that was in Chicago. There's Ingram right on cue. Well, can't Tennessee get Admiral Schofield back in this game? He had those early 11 points, hasn't scored in more than 20 minutes. Jordan Bone, for the moment, puts the team on his back, and the Volunteers inching a little bit closer.
That was a nice job by Bone to create some space. Got away with a little bit of shoulder, but that fadeaway was sweet.
And that's the guy I pinpointed out for Tennessee as the guard spot, to be a little bit more aggressive, turning the corner.
Bone only had 4 points the other night, 9 tonight. Richardson had to change his mind. Here comes Ingram, still 9 to shoot. Custer probes the defense. Richardson, 1 to shoot. Long 2. Got it!
Man.
Hey, Len, you're talking about using the entire shot clock.
Exactly.
The Ramblers did that.
And there was no panic. I mean, everybody looked. And that last shot by Richardson, he was just in total form. Nothing off balance.
Oh, this St. Patrick's Day. Luck of the Irish, perhaps. Beautiful lob! And a fierce finish by Bowden.
We talk about that finish, but Jordan Bone, that wasn't an easy pass. He put that one right on the money.
I tell you what, Andre Jackson was ready, but he was flat-footed, couldn't get up high enough because he might have gotten up there and tipped it.
So suddenly the Volunteers have found their stroke again in their offense. 8 to shoot. Custer shadowed on the wing. Jackson off balance. 1 to shoot. This is Towns.
Nope.
Won't get it off.
Shot clock violation. Possession Tennessee.
One pass too many.
Returning from Loyola is Lucas Williamson.
There's Ben Richardson right down the shot clock. And then look at Jordan Bone. He put that one right on the money.
You see Jackson kind of ready to get it, but he just couldn't get up enough. You're right, that was pinpoint accuracy on the pass.
Tennessee at this end of the floor has hit 4 of their last 5 shots to get it down to 4. Bowden stops on a dive. Boy, look out. Jackson looked like inadvertently as he boxed out, undercutting big Derek Walker, the freshman out of Kansas City. And thankfully, it looks like Walker's okay, but it's on Jackson. Reminder, you can stream live 24/7 highlights, scores, and news free across all your connected devices with CBS Sports HQ. Check it out now, cbssportshq.com. Shot clock at 20 as the ball's inbound. They work it around the perimeter. James Daniel, who's senior out of Hampton, Virginia, has checked in for Rick Barnes. Here's Schofield from deep. Around and out. And another whistle against the Ramblers. And suddenly Walker putting a little imprint on this game.
Well, you see how they adjusted. When Schofield gets it on the block, they're double-teaming him, and they ran him off the block. Took that shot, but when they run him off the block after the double team, leaves that weak side open. And Tennessee exploited it that time.
Derek Walker. Derek Walker is just relentless right now in the last 2 possessions of throwing his body around on offensive rebounding.
Schofield rolling to the cup. Shot won't go. Knocked into the hands of Daniel. The shot clock resets.
There's a weak side again.
Here's Daniel, who led the country in scoring with Howard a couple of years ago. Better than 27 points per game. Now to Turner. 10 on the timer. Turner. Got it. 1 point game.
Derek Walker, his work on the glass gave them extra possessions down on that end. And then a nice drive by Jordan Bowden, kicking it to Lamonte Turner for the 3.
It's a 10-2 run for the Volunteers.
And how about James Daniel just hounding Custer?
Here's Lucas Williamson spotting up, and he buries it.
Lucas Williamson.
He couldn't even see that. You saw when he came down, he kind of twisted his head to try to see the ball go through. That was as challenged a shot as you can get.
Williamson, another Chicago kid out of Whitney Young High School, only a freshman.
He can play.
Here comes Bowden, turned back. Once again, that interior defense by Loyola as Andre Jackson was there to swipe it.
Returning for Tennessee, number 2, Brent Williams.
And Loyola will have possession. Tennessee fans, meantime, pleading for a foul that never came.
Well, we told you this would be a game of 2 outstanding offenses, but defense will tell the tale. And there's one example.
The Ramblers' 5th best scoring defense this season in Division I. They allowed only 66 points per game. And Smitty, you saw how good they can be on the interior there. And a physical meeting under the basket.
Right now, Coach Mosier trying to steal some minutes with Clayton Custer and Ben Richardson out. And you can see right now, Jordan Boughton is saying, oh boy, that's a ticky-tack foul. And Williamson got it knocked in the eye. He said, hey, there's a drive and there's a three. Williamson right back at you.
Time now for Power in the Paint, presented by Powerade.
And it really comes down to the freshman, Cameron Krutwig, who's exhibiting the power down low, power off the glass. You know, give it to him on the move. And even defensively, Cameron Krutwig has demonstrated that he's got a little power in him, utilizing his strength and also kind of utilizing his guile. 5 points, 3 assists, 1 block. And that's a powerful cat right there.
Yes, he is. Doing great things down in that paint.
4th highest field goal percentage among Division I players this season for Krutwig, better than 60%. One of the reasons why he was the top freshman in the Missouri Valley Conference this season.
Nice.
Jackson overplayed. Easy deuce.
But how about that pass? Bounce pass away from the defender.
You know, a lot of guards, Lynn, they just bail out. They don't want to be able to guard down there. Lamonte Turner, you just got to stay behind him, hope he gets some help, and let him shoot over the top.
Just can't say enough about this Loyola ball movement. That's Walker. Good-looking stroke from the freshman out of Kansas City. Getting some run here for Rick Barnes in the second half. 4-point game. With just under 9 minutes gone by.
Kind of left it short there. Didn't power up like he should have. But they are working trying to get Grant Williams in foul trouble.
Jackson unable to hit, and then Turner at the other end. Left it short. Rebound clean by Lucas Williamson. Here's Krutwig working on that baseline. Going right at another freshman in Walker.
Lynn, he has such good footwork, but a great feel and patience when to go. And also, he's not a talented, gifted athlete, but he goes right into your chest and takes away your jumping ability.
Also, being a left-hander helps. I've always said that lefties have an advantage because you're so accustomed to playing right-handers down low, particularly.
Here's Bowden stepping into a three-pointer, not even close, and the rebound pulled weak side by Towns. Skokna spotting up, got it! Biggest lead for the Ramblers. A look at our nationwide second half game summary. 10-minute mark, exactly halfway through the second half. Ramblers have hit 5 of their last 6 shots, gentlemen. A 10-2 run the last 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Yeah, they're just playing Ramblers basketball, moving it, sharing it. But I also look at the bench of the Ramblers. Advantage 21-9, a plus 12, led by Andre Jackson with 12 points. Right now, if you're a Volunteer, you got to find a way to claw back in this game. They're not getting to the free throw line at all, Lynn. They're just 2 for 5.
Yeah, this offense is, of Loyola Chicago has been keyed by their defense. And the fact that they haven't made silly fouls and put Tennessee on the line certainly attributes to the fact that they've got this big lead.
Admiral Schofield back on the floor for Tennessee as the Volunteers finding out what everyone was talking about with this Loyola team. A Ramblers group that is 18-1, just 1 loss since January the 7th. Jackson and Grant Williams get tangled up away from the ball. This will be on Jackson. And his 3rd personal.
Jackson trying to be physical without fouling. And Williams is doing a nice job of utilizing his strength, holding his ground, and turning, facing the ball, forcing Jackson to move left and right. And that's what creates the problem for Jackson.
So Jackson, such a key reserve, will sit with his 3rd personal. We'll see how that affects this Loyola defense. Williams, Daniel from deep. Massive shot for Tennessee. They cut it to 6.
Well, they need James Daniel on the floor. Remember, led the nation in 2015-16 with 27 points per game for Howard University. And to have a guy with that kind of offensive instinct is valuable for Tennessee, particularly at this moment when it seems like their offense is bogged a little bit.
Now, Rick Barnes hasn't signed too many graduate transfers, but Daniel was one he had to have. Here comes Krutwig, the big fella lumbering down the paint. Well played on the interior, and then a jump ball called here, and a possession arrow favoring Tennessee.
Possession, Tennessee.
Let's go over to Rise.
In that last Tennessee timeout, Admiral Schofield was stepping up as an emotional leader. Coach Barnes was deliberate and calm in his message, but then after it was Admiral Schofield who was fired up, telling his teams, we have to go and play harder. Come on, guys.
This is such a tightly knit group as Daniel delivered during that sequence. A Tennessee team that was picked to finish 13th of the 14 teams in the SEC in the preseason poll. Trying to get back to the Sweet 16 for the first time in 4 years. Here comes Schofield, turned back. Offensive foul as he ran over Williamson. And that is number 3 against Schofield.
Watch Lucas Williamson take this one, Land. You got to give your body up on the defensive end, and he did that. Got right in the way of
that's sacrifice.
That's sacrificing.
Step in front of that locomotive, will you?
That's what I love, Williamson. He has a high basketball IQ, a great feel for the game. Can guard 1 through 4, can play 1 through 4 on the offensive end as well.
Doesn't play like a freshman. All freshman team in the MVC. Here's Richardson as we come up on the 8-minute mark with a date to Atlanta and the Sweet 16 hanging in the balance. Richardson.
Look at those hands. That's an outstanding rebound by Schofield.
Bone will slow things down now to Daniel. The senior probing the defense with 15 to shoot. Bone fakes. Daniel. A little bit too much off to the left. Rebound Custer.
Hey, Lynn, are you paying attention to the game within the game down on the block?
Oh, yeah, you know that.
Krutwig are battling.
Krutwig and Williams, man,
they
body
are battling.
against body.
Here it is.
Krutwig wants to take Williams. Working around the horn. Ingram, get it! It is a 9-point Loyola lead.
Catch and shoot, baby, that's what they do.
And these Ramblers who have stolen the hearts of Chicagoans everywhere right now starting to flex their muscles. Here's Williams. Beautifully done, elevating over the defense. Soft baby hook shot.
And there's the duck in that everybody talks about. Porter Moser talked about.
Boy, Krutwig got down the floor quickly. Unable to finish, but the Ramblers will inbound when we come back.
Dante Ingram, catch and shoot. Leave it. He is filling it from behind the line. 2 of 5 right now.
All right, Adam, we'll keep tabs on that one here in Dallas. Some late rain as the Tennessee Volunteers, coached by Rick Barnes, the 3 seed in the South, in a 9-point hole as the Ramblers guys doing it inside and out.
Yes, they are. You can look in the paint. They are playing even far as points. Nice job of being able to kick it out, and they are sharing it, Lynn. All facets of their game, balance inside and out. The Ramblers are showing their entire offensive repertoire.
And that's what they've done. They've been able to exploit inside, force Tennessee to be cognizant of that and peel guys back, and then they find them on the perimeter.
Now the last shot before the break hit the rim, so the officials reset the shot clock to 30 seconds. Custer! My goodness, trying to lob it for Ingram, who was knocked to the deck. Boy, that would have blown the roof off of this place. Looks like Ingram is okay, kind of feeling it his left elbow.
Well, coming off that
will be on Schofield, and that is his 4th.
Coming off that high screen, and they figured coming out of the huddle that they would have an opportunity with guys overplaying. But you're right. I mean, Schofield with those first 2 in the first half, we knew that that could be trouble for them down the road.
Guys, really nothing to think about. You have to sit Schofield here.
Yeah, you have to. A few minutes, but not a lot of minutes if this thing starts to get away.
Schofield with all 11 of his points tonight in the first 4 minutes and 22 seconds. Then picked up his second personal. He has not scored since.
But I would expect to see Rick Barnes as this game continues, depending on what his team does offensively, kind of spoon feed Schofield some minutes. Keep him out a couple minutes here, put him back in, keep him out as long as he can stay in the game. But you can't leave him on the bench much longer.
Derek Walker, a freshman, is in. He's played some significant minutes in the second half. Here's Bone backing it away and resetting. Shot clock at 8.
Boy, look at Williams down low.
Finding some daylight, and he sticks it. What a huge shot by the sophomore. How badly did they need that one? 5-point game.
They needed that.
Grant Williams got to be very careful down low. The way he's trying to establish position down low. Maybe call for offensive foul using his arms. Got to be careful.
Great rhythm by Jordan Bone. Want to see him a little bit more aggressive as he has his shot going.
Custer beautifully sets up Ingram. That's a long 2.
Look at that rebound.
Williamson. Freshman unable to put it down, and a rebound taken by Tennessee and Jordan Bowden.
But that could turn out to be a big miss. An opportunity to, turn it into a 4-point play. Loyola Chicago misses something point blank on one end, and Tennessee may wind up scoring here. Look down low once again to Williams.
Here's Lamonte Turner, wants to take Custer baseline, hanging, tough reverse, won't go, and then he has the presence of mind to get the timeout. From his backside on the deck, Loyola, Tennessee in a 5-point game. The Tennessee Volunteers will have a brand new shot clock. But gentlemen, they are down to their final timeout, and that could loom large here with still 5 and change remaining.
Oh, that was a beautiful step back right there. And the bottom line is they've got somebody who's got the hot hand right now. They need to continue to give that person touches. That's Jordan Bone.
Admiral Schofield on the bench with 4 personals. So who do they turn to here? We've got the SEC Player of the Year, Grant Williams, trying to find that high post. Here's Bone, puts it on the deck, elevates over Richardson. Back rim, no. Rebound, Towns. There's Schofield, a spectator at the moment as we move under 5 minutes left. Which of these two teams is headed for Atlanta in the Sweet 16? Here comes Williamson. Contact underneath, and this will be a blocking foul. And a 1-and-1 coming up for the freshman out of Whitney Young High School in Chicago. It's on Williams, his third.
And Lucas Williamson was talking to Towns, saying, when I drive at baseline, you want to hit opposite corner, but also you want the guy from the wing, which was Towns, to dive down the middle. He was a little bit late.
Freshman trying to exert himself a little bit from a leadership standpoint. And as I said, spoon feed him, sat down for about 1.5 2 minutes, bring him back in, gain a little bit of perspective, got him a little bit under control.
Rick Barnes wasting no more time. Awfully friendly bounce for the freshman. 73% free throw shooter as Jackson will come in for Krutwig.
You said it. I mean, it touched every part of that rim, left, right, back iron. And the freshman knocked it in.
Sometimes those are little signs. Little signs.
Well, they do have Sister Jean cheering them on.
Look at this.
Offensive rebound tracked down by Marquise Towns, and that shot clock resets.
That was a 50-50 ball. Tennessee absolutely got to beat Loyola Chicago to them.
There's Jackson with Bone on his back, and he is knocked to the deck. 1-and-1 continues. Ramblers in the bonus. It'll be Andre Jackson of the line, the senior. 71% free throw shooter. It's on Bone, his second.
Andre has great feel for if it's a bigger defender, if it's a smaller defender. The basketball feel for him playing the 5 position right for the Ramblers is exceptional.
Jackson tonight is 5 for 5 at the stripe. Jackson talking this week about the emotional return from him. Grew up not far from here. He said he called his mother about 10 minutes after the brackets were announced on Selection Sunday and said, "Mom, I'm coming home." And what a moment this would be for him and his family if the Ramblers can somehow get past these mighty Volunteers and move on to Atlanta. 7-point lead with 4:21 remaining. And that long drought since Schofield scored continues, making an 8-point game. Turner from deep, in and out, rebound Jackson. Here's Richardson. Jackson! Incredible vision by Richardson.
That was 4 Ramblers just getting out on a dead sprint on that transition play.
And Schofield just taking it on himself. First points since the 4:22 mark, or 4:22 I should say, into the first half.
Lynn, what's interesting right now, Tennessee wants to get up and press, but you have a 5-guy, and Grant Williams has to check a smaller defender. He can't deny guys being able to get it in.
Yeah, there's no opportunity to press with the quickness as we're seeing on Loyola Chicago's part.
It will be Marcus Towns to the free throw line for 2 when we come back.
Ramblers rambling themselves to a win.
That'll be a second personal.
Possibly.
4th team foul against Tennessee.
He was matched up with the power forward, and he drove right to Grant Williams. He was late getting there, split the defense, and with a little English land, he put it off the glass.
Yeah, that's definitely determination. You take a look at the balance in the Ramblers scoring. Andre Jackson having a career day almost, going hard, posting him up, running the floor, and he's got his teammates to follow, but they go to the hot hand. Doesn't matter who's scoring for this team, as every time they come down and play in the half court, almost every time, everybody touches it.
First trip to the line tonight for the junior, who had a taste of the NCAA tournament 2 years ago as a player for Fairleigh Dickinson, a team that lost in the first 4 to Florida Gulf Coast, so he knows what this stage is like. Biggest free throws of his collegiate career as the Ramblers extend to a 9-point lead with 3:20 remaining. Schofield. Cowden from deep. Got it!
Now you got to credit Schofield taking the double team, throwing it opposite, and then the extra pass gets the open look. Excellent team movement, ball movement by Tennessee. Now it comes down to the defensive end, as we thought it would.
Richardson trying to dribble away from Turner, and a foul charge to Lamonte Turner, the sophomore. And it will be 2 free throws coming up, double bonus for the Ramblers.
And look at the opposite pass, finding the open man, and then as they close, one more pass gets it to an even more open man.
And Richardson will go to the
You know they're saying Lamonte Turner overplayed Richardson, just smart, felt the contact and just drove it and put the onuses on the referee to make this call.
Wow. Richardson, a 67% free throw shooter. Defensive Player of the Year this season in the Missouri Valley Conference. And you see the foul trouble now that Rick Barnes is contemplating over on that Tennessee bench. And there is the team chaplain and the newest darling of this tournament, Sister Jean Dolores Schmidt, the 98-year-old.
See on the
guiding
switch,
late for the Ramblers.
On the switch, Custer had to guard Schofield for a moment. His team didn't recognize it, didn't need it though.
Bowen going baseline. And some big shots down the stretch from Rick Barnes' backcourt.
He's been in rhythm the entire night, 6 for 10, 1 for 2 from the three-point line, has 5 assists with 13 points.
5-point game. Here comes Towns. Richardson thought about it. Williamson underneath, poked away, stolen by Turner.
Big defensive play right there. Looked as though Loyola Chicago was going to get a layup, and then the deflection.
Turner from deep, buries it, and here comes Tennessee.
Timeout call by Loyola.
Volunteers just don't quit. Active hands, and then excellent movement down low. We got a game right now.
Your game reset with $1:44 to play. It's an 11-3 run by the Volunteers. Just when you thought that they were finished, they were down 10 points, but they've cut it to 2.
You look at the foul situation, though. Every Tennessee foul is 2 shots for Loyola Chicago. Loyola Chicago has a foul to give.
And you look right now, up to the Ramblers. It's going to come down now. Who can make a play? Who can knock down some free throws? And we know the Ramblers going to move the basketball on the offensive end and try to get a great shot. Tennessee has more go-to guys they can go to on the offensive end.
But they've got to be aggressive, the Ramblers, because they know if they get fouled, they've got 2 shots on the line. Don't settle.
Here's Towns turning the corner.
That is huge. Grant Williams played excellent defense on Towns, being able to move his feet first and then body up and wall up for that block shot.
Did we say defense? We knew that was going to be the case.
Just over a minute to play here in Dallas. Schofield from deep. Rebound Towns with 60 seconds left and a trip to the Sweet 16 on the line.
I think Custer's got to come and get this ball. He's their best playmaker.
The Ramblers with a heart-stopping win here on Thursday. Can they pull it off here in Dallas tonight? Towns, 7 to shoot. Jackson.
Took his eye off it.
And he's out to play. It's a 5-on-4 situation. They have numbers, but Jordan Bones, smart, wanted to run this, calm them down. They got a timeout by the Volunteers.
That's why you got to go after the ball with 2 hands.
Rick Barnes takes his final timeout, down 2 with 27.7 left. High drama here in Dallas. Tennessee will have it out of timeouts. The Ramblers, gentlemen, do have a foul to give.
Exactly.
Let's talk strategy. What are these coaches telling their players?
Well, if I'm Rick Barnes, I got to find a way to get the ball either in Williams' hands or Schofield's hands, either off the drive or a hard post up. You got an opportunity not only to score, but to get a 3-point play. But on the other hand, Loyola Chicago, they've got a foul to give. If Tennessee is going to run this down to the nub, maybe if you get under 10, I foul and use that foul to give, try to throw Tennessee off its rhythm. They don't have any more timeouts. They can't talk about it.
You want to throw it inside, and you're totally right, Landon. It's going to be key for these guards, the post entry, because the Ramblers like the 3-quarter or front. Then it's going to come down to the Ramblers. If the Volunteers get a shot up, because you're playing behind, you're going to have to find a way to be able to keep Schofield and also Williams off the glass. And then on this end, you got to find a way to run a high pick and roll with Custer and Jackson with the floor spread.
Tennessee with their highest seeding in nearly a decade in the tournament, down 2. Williams right to the rack, and he is fouled. He can give Tennessee a lead with 20 seconds left.
Well, excellent play by Rick Barnes. Gave him some space. Did not try to post him on the block because that's the advantage with the front and the 3-quarter. Got it to him to the elbow, and look at that young man explode over the top of Jackson.
It's elementary. Give it to your best player and the best player in your conference. Not hard.
Tennessee was down 60-51 with 3:25 left. Since that point, a 10-1 run. They have held Loyola to 1 point in the last 3 minutes. And Grant Williams, the SEC Player of the Year, can give the Volunteers a 1-point lead.
The thing I liked about it, Tennessee did a quick hitter. They're going to rely on their defense regardless of either win the game or to go to overtime.
First lead for Tennessee since there was only 6:19 left in the first half. 15 seconds. Do the Ramblers have one more miracle left in them? Deflected off of Williams. Let's see if they go to the replay monitor here, which they can, of course, do with inside of 2 minutes left. Our officiating crew, Mike Reed, Don Daly, Larry Scarato.
Let's look at this. I thought this was off the Ramblers. Yes, it is from that angle.
No.
Oh, you gotta wait, Lynn. I gotta wait, right?
Yeah, you gotta wait till the very end.
I have a feeling they're going to be looking at multiple angles of this. Grant Williams and Andre
here
Jackson
it is right here. Does he touch
it?
It's off Grant Williams.
It is.
Call on the floor is Ramblers basketball.
Give these referees a lot of credit. Obviously, they can go to the monitor to see, but I thought for sure Grant Williams got an excellent hand on it. I thought it went off Jackson. Oh, this is good basketball.
And Jackson wasn't even ready for the pass.
Hey, you know what?
That was the thing, and Williams shot the gap like he should.
Lynn, he didn't know the play. You saw all the Richardson and Custer coming up to him and saying that play was for you to hold off your guy and catch it.
Officials have confirmed their call. It will indeed be Loyola basketball. 10.5 seconds left. The Ramblers do have one timeout left here. It will be Marquise Towns, the inbounder, and everyone standing here in Dallas. Inbound to Custer. Here comes the player of the year, the MVC, rises. Oh, he got it! No timeouts for Tennessee. Bone rises. No! And the dream is alive. Loyola rambling on to the Sweet 16.
Tennessee 62.
Agony on one end and exhilaration on the other.
Ecstasy is as good a word to utilize as well. We had to go to the MVP, right, of the
Missouri Valley Conference. You talk about a big-time shot, and he had shot in mind the entire time. Came off that 1-5 high screen and roll, and boy, did he get a friendly, nice bounce that went in. But that was a big-time look by Jordan Bone that just came off. The Ramblers advance.
How about Custer on the floor giving himself a pump? Man.
Clayton Custer, the junior from Overland Park, Kansas. The Iowa State transfer, who Porter Moser called the heart and soul of his team and the raw emotion of this tournament, unlike anything else in sports.
Hey, that's the guardian angel right there, Sister Jean.
Oh, you gotta love this story. The Ramblers, they play so hard.
Tennessee's incredible season will come to an end in Dallas as Sister Jean Dolores Schmidt and those Rambler faithful moving on to Atlanta.
Sister Jean called it, at least getting them to the Sweet 16 on her bracket.
She might want to rip up that bracket now. Boy, what a game. Just fantastic from both these schools. The Volunteers play well, Lynn, and come down and cut it down and have a chance at the end.
No question.
Rise standing by with Loyola's latest hero, Clayton Custer.
Clayton, you're down one with seconds left. Tell me about that final play, how you were able to keep your head and knock down that bucket.
I mean, I don't always say this, but I got to give glory to God on that one. I mean, the ball hit the front of the rim, popped up in the air, and I think that's just all the years of hard work coming into one play. I mean, I've given my whole heart and soul into this game, and I've worked so hard since I was so little, and to get that bounce on that shot, it makes all those hours in the gym worth it, and I cannot believe that just happened.
Incredible that it did. You know, coming into this tournament, you guys hadn't been here in 33 years as a program. Now you're on to the Sweet 16. Honestly, at the beginning of the season, what were your expectations? Could you have imagined this?
Yeah, I mean, as we've been saying all along, we know that we can play with these teams. We play hard, we play together, we play defense. I don't think a lot of these teams know how hard we're going to play when we show up. I know that they got off to a good start, but Coach challenged us, and we responded to it, and I'm just so happy that we came out with a win.
You know, you and I were joking before we came into this game about Sister Jean, that she picked you guys out in the Sweet 16. So what's next for you guys?
And we're going to have to prove Sister Jean wrong on this one. Yeah, Sister Jean has us going out in this round, and we're going to have to prove her wrong for sure.
All right, good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you.
Spiro?
All right, Rise. Have to feel for that young Tennessee fan as the Volunteers season is over. It was Dante Ingram on Thursday and Clayton Custer tonight as the Cardiac Kids from the Windy City punching their ticket to the Sweet 16.
Hey, we're going to prove you wrong on this.
Emotional moment between Custer and Sister Jean Dolores just outside the tunnel to their locker room. As the Ramblers defeating the Volunteers to move on to Atlanta. Roz hoping to grab a moment here with Sister Jean. Let's throw it over to Roz right now. Roz?
Sister Jean, I want to get right to it. How did you motivate these guys in your pregame prayer?
Well, I told them we were going to win, that we could do it, and God would be on our side, and we were just going to do it today, to keep calm and just put into play everything that coach has taught them to do.
Now, I have a hard question for you because the guys, Clayton Custer, the players, they told me they found out about your bracket and that you had them going to the Sweet 16, but then they're losing there. So what's going on there?
I just thought they would go to the Sweet 16, and now we may even go more than that.
So you'd prefer if your bracket was wrong?
We just go one game at a time, though. And so we'll go to the Sweet 16 now. Great.
I like that mindset. Congratulations to you and your school, and I hope they bust your bracket.
Thank you so much. Okay, thank you.
All right, guys.
All right, Roz, what a finish here in Dallas as Tennessee's fantastic season comes to an end, 26-9. Congratulations to Rick Barnes as their road ends here tonight. The Ramblers from Loyola Chicago, Atlanta bound, headed to the Sweet 16 for the first time in 33 years. Tune into CBS and TBS now for live second round games coming up on TNT. It's Florida and Texas Tech. We'll send you to our studios for Capital One Tournament Central after these messages.